The facilities are out the door to the left, and it's the third entrance down on the left. So, we did have snacks out here for you, refreshments. We do meet from 5:30 to 6 so that you can network and that you can have a little refreshments and you can have some So, welcome, and good evening. I'm Sharon Bailey Murphy. I am the president of the Coastal Bend Board Phase Foundation, and we are so glad that you are here tonight for our September 6th Coastal Issues Forum. Our Coastal Issues Forums are designed to bring together the community with diverse interests, and that we look at what we try to do is to identify issues that are of concern and seek solutions to those that are representative of the Coastal Bend area. And so we're really glad to be here, and we're so excited to be back at Del Mar at the Center for Economic Development. We haven't been here in a while. Some of you remember when we used to come here all the time, right? Yeah, so thank you all for coming. What a wonderful crowd. One of the things is that we do have our Coastal Issues Forum once a month, usually on the second Monday of the month. Our next SIP will be in October, and I will give you more information on that when we close. The Coastal Issues Forums are always free. They're always free, they're always open to the public, and we encourage you to participate and to be interactive. We do want you to hold your questions until after the presentation today. Today's tip is brought to you by the Coastal Bend Based Estuary Program, the City of Corpus Christi Solid Waste Services, and the Coastal Bend Based Foundation members. If you're a Coastal Bend Based Foundation member trustee or on the board of directors, please stand up. Thank you. Stand up so we can recognize you. Thank you. And if you would like to be a member, we can sign up outside. Wally is there right there at the door. And also you can sign up online. If you have a membership, please make sure that it's up to date so you can fill that out online as well. I make sure that you signed in. Did all of you sign in before you came in? Okay, if you didn't, there is a QR code for you techno-savvy people to sign in, or you can do old-fashioned one like I do. So this evening's tip is Trash Talk About Recycle with the City of Corpus Christi Solid Waste Services, Melissa Cabano. No, tell me what it is. Cabano. She told me to do the A right. Cabano and Crystal Seahorn. So without further ado, please, they are going to come and share tips and details about the city's new recycling and litter control program, and their goal to help raise awareness and understanding of the impact of the community's actions and efforts on our coastal Bend environment. So I hope you all recycle. Raise your hand if you do, and you know what goes in the recycle bin and what doesn't, and it has to be clean, and you don't want it contaminated. And how many of you know how far your recycle bin should be from your waste can, from your garbage can, from the blue to the green? How about this? Okay. So the next time you get ready to set your garbage can out and it's your recycle day, just make sure they're this far apart. It's easy to remember, isn't it? So without further ado, come on up, Melissa and Crystal.
Let's see here. Okay, so thank you everyone, and thank you for coming back after a long absence. I know this is the first time that everybody is coming back together in person, so it's a very exciting time. I am Crystal Seahorn, and I am your Recycling Outreach Coordinator with the City of Corpus Christi Solid Waste Services Program. And of course, in the back, Melissa Cabano is my partner in Recycling Outreach. We have a great time every day. Uh-oh. She's making sure we should. I'm just going to keep talking. So I saw that a great deal of you recycle, and that you know what to throw, which is always a really good thing. So while we're trash talking about recycling, let's do a little bit of the background on things. So why do people choose to recycle? When we ask the question, more often than not, I hear that they feel a social responsibility. They also respond that they want to help to improve our environment. The best answer that I ever received was, I don't want my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren having to eat plastic. That was the best answer ever. And so they do care about the environment. Now, there are some really good benefits to recycling, and one of them is that it does save natural resources. We are not dependent on using raw timber. We're not having to use that petroleum. We save energy. We save energy because something that's already been made is much easier to reproduce than it is to make something from scratch. That is absolutely true, except when it comes to pies. Pies are the best. We love our pies. The other thing that recycling does is that it does reduce pollution, okay? Because we're not having to create things from that raw state. We're reducing greenhouse gases, and best of all, we're extending the life of our landfills. We have a 200-year landfill. We want it to last 220 if we can, right? But there is a problem with recycling. The biggest problem that we have is recyclable materials are commodities. We all know that recycling can be bought and sold, but many people in our community are not aware of that. The other thing that people are not aware of is that commodities are based on a market. If they can't be sold, then we can't actually continue to carry them in our recycling program. And of course, the markets determine what can be accepted in a recycling program. So to kind of model that just a little bit and give you some good examples, some of you may remember when we accepted plastic bags in our recycling program. Yeah, you remember that? Okay. We had to bring that to an end in 2011. And the biggest reason is that there was no market for it. The transportation cost to take it from Corpus Christi to the next recycling facility was far too far away. The return on investment on that commodity simply wasn't there. And we saw the same thing in 2005 with glass. Glass is probably one of the most desired things that we want to recycle, but it's the one thing that has the least return on investment. And we don't have a manufacturer and processor locally. On the bright side, I have heard in my office that we are really hoping to be able to have an indoor facility in the future so that we can have a glass crusher that won't end up rusting and falling apart in elements, because we can see as a city and as solid waste services that there's a benefit to crushing our own glass and using it internally for the city and saving our taxpayers money. But the challenges to recycling, and these are the challenges that our average recyclers experience, is that our communication is not consistent. And it's often conflicting. But that's why you have Melissa and I. We are working tirelessly to make sure that the flow of information is consistent across the board. We started by picking apart the website and giving you factual information based on what the city can recycle. The other issue that we run into, and it's a big challenge, is wish cycling. And I have to admit, I did that a lot before I came into this position. So wish cycling or wishful recycling is when we want so desperately to make something recyclable that we'll put it in the cart, hoping that somehow it's going to get recycled, like that Fisher-Price boat that I had to get rid of. Simply not something that's part of the program. But the other challenge that we face, and this is kind of a love-dislike relationship that we all have on this side of recycling, is the recycling symbol. So a lot of people, your average recycler, believes that the recycling symbol means that it is automatically recyclable and that we can go ahead and put that in the blue cart. All too often, they look for that little triangle when we're out on cart inspections with our team. We see them and they say, but look, it's got it right there. The thing is that that symbol actually tells the processor what type of resin was used in order to be able to mold and create that item. Okay, so oftentimes we see those number 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s. Each of those are unique. So the recycling symbol is often a deterrent for us, but it can also be a tool that we can use to improve our recycling if we know how to use it properly. And I'm hoping that by the end of our session today, that you'll be confident in recycling your plastics and understanding what those symbols mean and how you can make those symbols work for you. So when you don't know how to make those symbols work for you, or you don't know what goes into recycling, we end up with something called recycling contamination. Here you can see a cart that is contaminated with household trash, There is some lumber in there. There's also some flimsy plastic bags. I can see, not to pick on Whataburger, but a styrofoam cup. This is recycling contamination at its best. And unfortunately, we could not accept this cart because we cannot process this cart at our recycling facility. So what is recycling contamination? Recycling contamination is defined as any items that are placed in the blue cart that are not accepted by the local program. What that means for all of us here is that we have to know what to throw so that we can reduce recycling contamination. If you want the shortest definition of recycling contamination, trash. But why does recycling contamination matter? First of all, it's impossible to sort. When someone leaves water inside of a good plastic bottle and tosses it into their blue cart, or let's say that they throw a pizza box in a greasy pizza box, or maybe they think that their lawn clippings are acceptable to put in their blue cart, that gets commingled with all of the other good recycling that's in there and ultimately contaminates a load. Okay? It's very difficult to sort and keep, sort of good recyclables from our trash. Furthermore, a lot of folks don't know that the recycling center is actually fully automated. There aren't people running down the line picking out recyclables. This automation is incredible. We have everything from optical sorters that use infrared light. We have string sorters that tumble and move things through and get them sorting down lines. And so it's a highly automated process, and it's very hard for a machine to separate the trash from your good recyclables. So when all of this happens, it actually reduces the value of recyclable material. And if it's a commodity, we want the highest price that we can get for it, right? Because it's all going to come back to us in a very positive way. The other thing that recycling contamination does is that it increases the equipment maintenance. So I'm going to use a example of, has anybody ever tried to pull out string from their beater bar on their vacuum cleaner? That is a real pain in the keister, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And so for those of us that have had a toddler in our house at one time and a hard floor, how many of you have ever dropped a glass onto a hard floor with a toddler? Your whole world stops in an instant, doesn't it? Because your first choice is, we got to get this baby out of the way so we can take care of this issue. It's the same thing with this monster equipment that we have working. Everything comes to a stop. Productivity goes down and the costs go up. So this is our tipping floor. This is what a tipping floor typically looks like. So after your recycling leaves your cart and goes into the recycle truck, it actually gets dumped off in large piles, very, very large piles. And then from there, we have a front loader that grabs it, picks it up, and starts sending it through the processing. No people there. But now you can see there are people who are assigned to key lines, and what they're doing is they're just making sure that optical sorters, screen sorters, the little poofs of air, which I can't remember the name of those right now, the strong magnets and eddy currents are all doing their job and sending all of the good recyclable material exactly where it needs to go in the line. I wanted to share that with you. I just wanted you to see it, because most people, once they see it, they have a really good understanding, or a little bit better understanding. So why the cart inspections? Why did the city of Corpus Christi go to the cart inspection? And the answer is 44% recycling contamination. Almost half of everything that was going into those blue carts was actually trash. It wasn't good recyclable material. So here's our goals. This is what we are charged with every day. This is what our cart inspection team is charged with every day, is to help to improve the recycling habits through outreach and education. This is why Melissa and I are out here. This is what brings us joy in doing our job, is that we have the opportunity to share this message with you. Next, it's education over citation. This has been pounded into us day in, day out. When those gentlemen and those ladies are out there on the street and they're looking inside of your cart, it's not about citing you. It's not about a fine. It's not about giving you a fee. More times than not, they're going to give you several of these oops tags to give you the information that you need, that we all need, so that we can go through and be better recyclers. So what ultimately we want to do is be able to provide that information that's going to help everyone know exactly what they need to throw. So recyclers who know what to throw help us to reduce that contamination and trash. They also increase the quality and the quantity of recyclable material. And of course, we get a small fee back to us at the city of Corpus Christi, which helps to keep our costs down. So we always want to reduce the contamination as much as possible. And the results of the program, you can see we have the great job tag and we have the oops tag. Well, 29,000 carts have been inspected since January of 2022 through August. 42% of our community that have had their carts inspected have had a great job, which means that a lot of our community and a lot of our citizens really are doing a great job. But we still have some folks who need a little bit of extra help, and there are 52%. They get the oops tag, okay? Most of the time, the biggest thing that we see are flimsy plastic bags. Sadly, that's the one that we see the most. Occasionally, we see some hazardous materials. Styrofoam is always big, and we all know when we ask folks, well, why styrofoam? And they say, well, because it's got that little triangle in the number 6. So there's that little triangle coming up again. And then last but certainly not least, one of the other ones that we see a lot of is pizza boxes in yard waste. But I get it, you know, I understand that. And so do they. And so that's why we tend to give oops tags several times until people get it. Unfortunately, sometimes they don't. 6% of the remaining carts were contaminated beyond our ability to process them. And so we had to turn the cart around. We had to instruct the homeowner to dispose of it in the trash, or they could call, we can pick it up. We're actually not making any money off of this program because it does cost us to pick up those carts and take them away. But as you can see here, there's a lot of no number plastics. You see household trash and contaminants. You also see a lot of yard waste. And these are the things that we most commonly see, and they're highly contaminated. Some people use them as their waste basket for personal care. It's stuff that just simply cannot be recycled. So I've mentioned a couple of times we have to know what the local program accepts, and that's the most important thing. So for tonight, what I want you to go home with is that we can accept paper. We can accept all kinds of paper, just not tissue paper, toilet paper, paper towels, you know, the kind of stuff that really does belong in the trash. We can take the phone books, we can take magazines. Help me out, Melissa. Throw it in, just for fun. Shoe boxes, you betcha. We sure can take shoe boxes. And we take lots and lots of empty flat cardboard and paperboard. So when we're talking about paperboard, we're talking about those cereal boxes, those macaroni and cheese boxes. Just make sure that you remove the plastic sleeve and put that in the trash. But we want that cardboard and that paperboard. We also want your aluminum and steel cans. The beautiful thing about aluminum and steel is that it can be recycled infinitely with no loss of quality. And we love that and want to keep using that. I call those the superheroes of our recyclables. And then last but certainly not least are plastics. So earlier today, I talked about how we can use those triangles as a tool. So if you remember nothing else, remember this: plastic bottles, jugs, and containers. Okay? And they only need to have the triangle with the number 1, 2, and 5. If you can remember that, you are going to do such an amazing job and always get a great job on your cart inspection. So what happens when we get those sealed cans, or maybe we get a soda can that had sugar or juice in it? Well, when you have food or sugar residue present, you definitely want to give it just a little quick rinse. I personally work to use less than a tablespoon of water, and 9 times out of 10, it does the trick. Okay? We understand that there are some products that we buy that are very sticky. We understand that peanut butter and Nutella are very difficult to remove, And in that case, we also understand if you end up putting that in the trash instead of recycling it. We get it. Because you don't want to waste a lot of water cleaning it in order to be able to recycle plastic. But that's always a personal choice that we make. Okay? A little bit of water does the trick. The other thing is we talk about clean. It's not really clean as much as it is empty. We want it emptied out really good. I understand that cans of beans and SpaghettiOs and things like that are a little bit difficult to get the stuff out. But if you just do your best to get most of it out, that is going to, A, do the trick for what we need on the recycling end of it, but also it's going to keep your cart smelling fresh and keep rodents from wanting to join in. So the other big one that we see a lot is folks want to help us by pre-sorting. So they buy these recycling bags, and they're kind of clear, and they say that they're for recycling. And it's a great marketing ploy. I love it, but I want to encourage everybody to save your money because there is absolutely no need to buy those for our recycling program. We want you to keep it loose in the cart. No plastic bags of any kind. Okay? The other thing we want to remind you of, and this is just a quick tip that I don't want to forget, because I want to get through the night and share with you. If you have an item that is smaller than a credit card or an ID card, it's probably too small, thank you ma'am, to go through the recycling process. So if you have something that's really small and you're debating on whether to put it in, just remember, if it's smaller than a credit card, it may not make it all the way through the recycling process. I don't want to deter you, but I just want to let you know. Okay. Alrighty, so the other thing we want to do, and this is something that Melissa and I discovered on our most recent cart walk after the heavy rains and over the summer, is that as sprinkler systems are going and when we have heavy rains, when you have a broken cart, we're going to get liquid into that cart. When we get liquid into the cart and we start putting all of our good recyclables in, we're going to contaminate them because they get wet. Wet cardboard, wet paper, all of that is not recyclable material. So unfortunately, those carts, we have to turn them around. They have to empty it out. They've got to dry out that paperboard or just throw it away. So when you have a broken cart, just give us a call. You can call us at 311 or you can call us at the 826-2489. We've got a team of folks that'll go out and fix that for you, no charge whatsoever. We just want to keep your carts in good repair. This is not just recycling carts, but also your garbage carts. So when in doubt, throw it out. And I hate to say that because I'm a wishful recycler at heart. Okay, I don't do it anymore, but I am. So one of my favorite things that Melissa's always telling folks is, look, sometimes you have a lawn chair and it has that little recycling symbol on there. And the truth is that that lawn chair, if it's broken, no good, sadly, it's got to go in the garbage because our processor is not able to run that through that system. Okay? It's hard. It's a hard thing to do. None of us like to, but it's just how we have to roll for now. Next is our mixed materials. So mixed materials are always a conundrum for folks because they want to recycle it, but it makes it challenging. So a mixed material would be something like your padded bubble mailers, where you have paper and plastic bubble wrap in there. There's your milk cartons that either have a fine piece of plastic on the inside or food grade wax on the outside. Those are mixed materials that are difficult to separate and sadly have to go in the trash. And then there's the no number plastics. And these are the ones where I was the worst wishful recycler. So every time then you get one of those nice electric razors and it has that really cool molded plastic over the front so you can see the product. Or I remember a million times getting a baby doll as a kid and it has that clear plastic window. Those are no number plastics. You can't find a recycling symbol anywhere on there. And so typically those are so many different types of resins mixed together that they're no longer recyclable. So we refer to them as no number plastics, and those we're not able to recycle. They do have to go in the trash. So celebrate, don't contaminate, It's September, and this means that the fall holiday season is upon us. We're super excited. We have all kinds of fun holidays coming up, and we want everybody to celebrate and enjoy those days, but please don't contaminate. So when you're thinking about recycling during the holidays, remember plain gift boxes, plain cards and envelopes, catalogs, magazines, flattened shipping boxes, and of course your cardboard tubes that the wrapping paper comes in. Those are certainly welcome. So when it comes to celebrating and not contaminating, please try to reuse or donate gift bags, ribbons and bows, things like your decorations, holiday decorations, whether they be for Hanukkah or Halloween or Dia de los Muertos or Thanksgiving and all of the days to come after that. Toys, of course, if you can reuse them or know somebody who may want them, or perhaps you can donate them. And of course, artificial trees. If it's not something that you want anymore and it's in great condition, please consider donating. And of course, reuse those cardboard tubes for other fun things. I know that I've got a really good friend who likes to cut them down and puts a glow stick in there and cuts out little eyes, and it really freaks kids out around Halloween and Dia de los Muertos. And of course, the J.C. Elliott transfer station. That is your one-stop shop to go ahead and drop off your electronics, if you're getting new appliances, and of course all of the glass that you may accumulate during all of the fun festivities. And there will come a point when the city will be doing the mulching of the fresh cut trees, or of course you can drop them off so that we can handle that for you. Another thing is, don't forget, a lot of our stores now are accepting plastic grocery bags, the little tea bags that we get. And so look for that store drop-off symbol, and you can take them to places like Target, Walmart, and H-E-B. And then some of the most common holiday contaminators, of course, are our trick-or-treat bags, buckets, your candy wrappers, the glittery foil and wrap, of course, tissue paper. All of those paper plates and towels, those are things that we're just not able to accept in our program. We've got paper and plastic cups, dirty aluminum foil and aluminum cans. And this is the question that I get most often. What if I washed aluminum? And so if you're going to take the time to wash that aluminum, then I say, good on you. Go ahead and put that in your cart. Just make sure that it's visible that it's been clean aluminum. And of course, we talked about that plastic packaging, the no number packaging. Styrofoam is always not our friend in string lights. String lights are one of those beautiful tanglers that's going to bring our automated systems to come to a grinding halt. So I may have talked a little bit too much. I don't know. I'll tell you what, thank you so much for giving me your time. And Melissa and I are both here to answer any questions that you may have. So lay it on us. Yes, sir.
The caps on the plastic bottles.
Yeah, we saw this.
I've heard both.
Okay, so one is the size issue. And two, it's often a different plastic.
Put it on the plastic bottle.
It's often a different plastic than the bottle itself as well. So yeah, you can't. So you got like a number 5 bottle cap, and you've got a number 1 plastic.
I've been throwing them in the trash. I just wanted to know if.
Please continue.
Yeah. The plastic ring, when you do the cap off, there's that little ring that you can't get off.
Yeah, so that is like a minor thing. Often with the crushing, it'll come off later in the process. So that kind of is one of those negligible things that we don't worry intensely upon. If you pop it off, it's a cleaner material and it causes less cleanup at the recycling facility, which often, I don't know, she didn't tell you, but we've been to the recycling facility and it's kind of beautiful with all the colored caps on the ground and the shred paper. We can't recycle it in our home carts because it's too small, it pops in the thing, but it flies around like snowflakes there. So you got this beautiful ground of color with this beautiful rain of shred paper. I thought it was gorgeous. The guys rolled their eyes at me. You have a picture? It was beautiful. I was like, man. But yeah, just those things end up getting collected. They get packaged, then take a long road back to the landfill. And of course, we're charged additional for that. So we really try to, discourage any little things.
I got the new caps on the soda bottles. Recycling cap.
recycle the bottle with the cap on.
Yeah, that is per locality usually. Usually it says per locality. Your locality does not. Yeah, but I haven't seen the new ones either, so
That's what the water bottles are coming out.
I use a reusable water bottle. And I have copies of one, so that's pretty much all I do.
But Sheila, it's really good that you bring up this point, because these are things that we need to take back. This information is learning that they're starting to put this onto these tabs, helps us to communicate back to the city, so that as needed, we can implement these plans. I mean, additionally, the bottles that you're talking about, the bottle itself is PETE #1, but the cap is actually HDPE #2, and so.
I asked the public if they want the bottle with the cap on or off, and they said whatever.
They do. When it comes to city program, they refer back to us. So we're without, because again, they don't mind packaging our stuff up and taking it.
So ideally, we want people to take the top off.
Ideally, yes. Yep, it causes a lot less contamination and issues later down the line. And I could go into some things where like the PET one is like easily contaminated when they're processing it. So having a little bit of extras that end up in there, that starts bringing the value down. So, but really, it's just try your best. You know, try your best. We're going to work with everyone, and hopefully we'll all get there. And as soon as you get comfortable with it, we're likely going to change it. Be ready.
How much does it take to contaminate a whole truck? My neighbor's throwing all his garbage in there, and he's stuff right next to my desk, contaminate the whole truck.
It potentially could, depending on what the material is. You can literally ruin everyone's effort, depending on what it is. It could be a big bottle of ketchup that they decided that they're gonna leave in there, and it explodes and gets tipped on the floor, and all the material getting touched with it is all getting contaminated. And they don't wash there, so it is potentially an entire truckload that someone else could ruin for the rest of us who were trying really hard. So, absolutely.
So sort of building off of that, 42% good job seems like a really encouraging number. And only 6% being absolutely horrible seems also not as bad as it could be. So
Yes.
I'm wondering, do other cities have a similar program where y'all are comparing how Portland's doing?
We are not comparing currently.
Uh-huh.
You gotta remember, you're talking about a small percentage of the city that they've made it through already.
Right. Uh-huh.
So that 42 could go up to 62, hopefully with the education we've been pushing.
Right.
Or it could go down to 35, or, you know, swing either way. But no, we don't have a current comparison we're doing.
Okay.
One that you would-
You see inside the lead where you put the recyclable, could you put something like this in there, what goes in there?
We actually have imprinting on our cans, as well as we have a cart sticker program. So we are currently, some of the older cans are getting stickers put across. They're actually going, we've gone out and done it as well. Our inspectors put those new stickers on top. Additionally, the new cans also, and some of the older cans also have it, are imprinted already with that material. So it is happening. Yes, yes, sir?
Are you finding anybody?
They are fine. It is not the norm. It is not where we're going up for it. And they have a ton of opportunity not to get fined. It is not coming down. Our program, there are 4 citation levels. The first one is very similar to an Oaks tag, except we're not taking your can. We turn it around and say, go ahead and get rid of what's in there and try again the next week, and we'll let you know what was in there that was the issue. That's not fine. Second one is similar to that. You are getting the same information. So really, I mean, you have to really be just.
Knucklehead.
I'm not going to say that, but you're
It's kind of.
no, it's a
But, and the comparison, my daughter lives in Colorado Springs. They have a fantastic program. They even, they pick up your compost, they, they don't have any trouble over there. I hate to think that their folks are better than us down here, that we can't understand very simply what to put in a blue can. And that guy that put the yard waste, that is recyclable if he puts it on his flower beds,
It is, absolutely.
But really, put it in the recycle bin, right?
And the city would like to actually have a composting facility. We are hopeful for that. But I've also lived a bunch of areas. I've been in Washington State. They recycle more. They do a great job at it, but it's not without their problems as well. They're still putting out that information. They still have a team that has to do education with people. So I wouldn't say we're just having so much trouble, but this program isn't as robust as you find other places. So we're just hoping that this area can catch up. Yes, ma'am.
Two questions. The first one is when you have a cardboard or package, do you or you have
I mean, me, yes, I do.
would that cause contamination?
Yeah, they'll accept some of they consider it like a little negligible amounts of tape. But if it's a good bit, please do take it off. If it becomes, significant. If you got a little thin row, they're gonna take that still. So you don't have to worry about them, and you're not gonna get any oops tag or anything about it. But if it got like a big ball of tape on it and you threw that into, that's probably gonna get you most. So that, we don't wanna see that. I mean, I personally sit there and rip off all the tape because I like to have high quality recycling, and I've always been that way even before I worked this program. But no, we don't necessarily need you to go to the extra steps. But if you want to, please do. It's money to get things. Yes, sir.
So you said out of the inspections that you've done, 42% people were doing good just out of the inspections. But like say over the course of a whole year, how much citywide recycling that people are doing, how much of that is thrown away? Like what's the ratio of what's say good recycling versus what you guys have to trash?
So the good news is that since the last audit, we are seeing very positive momentum going in a great direction where we're throwing less trash away. At this point, we're still sending out about 5 tons of flimsy plastics every week. It adds up. It's the plastic bags, it's the plastic overwrap, it's the dog food bags. A lot of that is all adding up. So at this point, I'm going to say we're probably between about 35 and 40%, and we're only 8 months in. So everybody is trying. And a lot of people are trying. There's just things that they don't know. Or when I tell folks it's as easy as paper, cardboard, aluminum and steel cans, they look at me with complete and total disbelief. It doesn't have to be rocket science. We're trying to simplify this as much as possible. If all of the tape doesn't come off, I mean, you and I are hardcore, but if the tape doesn't come off, definitely let's just get it in there because it's good cardboard and we want that pulp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys are really on that number. Do remember that our card inspectors are not lifting. They are not dumping out. They're not in there digging through. They're opening the cart, they might shake it around a little, they might pick up what they can, if possible. If it's filled with bottles, you want to see it pop later. So that rate compared to our actual total contamination might be a little off as well. Just as our oops, what if our card inspector decides that he sees something he thinks is a bag and he messes it up? So give us a little ease on it because for the most part, they're doing pretty well. You gotta love people trying it, right?
Can I ask you, what was the deal with the pizza boxes? And then do we put the glass in the trash or in the trash?
The glass is not recyclable. It does not go into our recycling bin at all. It is absolutely trash, but you do have that option of J.C. Elliott if you wish to collect and take to the transfer station. Pizza boxes, it's because fats, oils, greases,
once they're embedded into that paper, they're in there. They're stuck. You're not gonna get them out. You can't rinse it. You can't do anything to remove it. So anytime you have food on paper, there is no way to actually separate the two. That's why the paper plates and stuff. Once you used it, it's gonna have to be your trash can. Now, pizza boxes, you wanna get that extra step, you can take, if it has a clean top, you can rip the top off and recycle that and take the bottom greasy part and throw it in. I do it, I don't know too many people that do it. So it's up to you if you wanna do that extra step, but for the most part, it really just has to go into the trash. Yes, ma'am?
Yeah, about the glass and please affiliate, is it taken to landfill at that point, or do you guys recycle it?
It is not being recycled, it is being collected.
Okay.
Yes,
Second.
yes. We have no recycling facility in southern Texas. We have no processor here, so we do not have anywhere to take it. We are collecting in hopes that one day we'll be able to utilize it, so it's getting stockpiled basically.
Yeah.
And you can find this in other cities and counties and states where some of the materials that they collect that they might see as value in the future, or they wait for a market to start building in price, they will actually stockpile those materials.
This is a good phrase here. And then, I'm sorry.
No.
I had a question about mixed materials like a shaving cream can. That has like a plastic top, but the can is steel. Is that, so
Yeah.
trash? Okay.
Yeah.
Good enough.
What future programs do you guys have for like apartment complexes? I find very difficult time recycling personally. I live in an apartment complex, and I recently moved here, so I don't know what are the rules, if it's a mandatory thing for everybody or they're optional. What can we do as residents that don't own a house and don't actively participate or want to recycle?
There is no requirements for apartment buildings to recycle. There are places that have that, the city does not currently. If you want to actively recycle, you have a permit at the house, no one's gonna stop you. Your apartment building might be serviced by Republic. They actually have a recycling drop-off for public use. And once they're on Agnes Street, and once you go in, there's a scale house and a recycling bin off to the left behind the building. Usually someone comes out and helps you pull up anyway. Additionally, if you do have shred paper and you want it to be recycled, they actually will take it in the scale house. All it has to do is be bagged. You go in, tell them you have shred paper, and they are happy to accept it. I'd love to see it get recycled since people tend to shred a ton at one time. But that is my only options for you because, again, you can't force apartment buildings to recycle. I'll consider them too. But I do hear that a lot, like a lot. Anyone?
So I just have a question. Yeah, so I live in an area where it's a major park and we can find.
Okay, so the oops, again, is just informative. You're not doing it. It is not a negative impact upon you per se. It is just letting you know that something was in there that we don't accept. So there's no need to like worry about a further step as in enforcement. So, outside of that, the city can't control people coming by either. People go up to people's cans and use them once they're out on the street. That does happen. We don't have a way other than to give you a couple hints of waiting until that morning, and trying to avoid you leave it out overnight. And just be sure to, bring it back in after the truck comes as soon as possible to avoid someone else using your can if you don't want them. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I hate to hear it. I don't want people to use the recycling can for anything but recycling begin with, but.
So I have seen folks, they would tie their can, they actually go through and zip tie their can, they sort of set down, then, I don't know that's not true. I hate to put that honesty that way, but I've seen folks who are, must be experiencing the same thing you are, because that's what it's working. No, yeah. And I actually, when, we're out with the car inspections, I've seen folks, they see their neighbor's car and have them see what's in that car. That's funny.
Just real quickly, we have somebody online that asked about, they said, did I just hear that shredded paper shouldn't be put in the recycle bin?
Yes, yes, you did.
Yes.
One, one, you have to bag it to begin with. So what's up with the bags? You don't want them in our bin. And again, they're so small, it doesn't survive the process for us. Now, when they take it, they have a whole other area at Republic, so if you drop it off there, that, you know, they take it with the rest of the paper where they do shredding and cleaning. But when it's in your can, those bags pop open often, and again, those bags that become a problem when they load them up and it starts getting tangled in our machine. So yes, we do not want those in our carts.
And Office Max shreds and they recycle the shredding.
Absolutely, and do try.
Done there.
There are a lot
And
of
obviously,
places you can take your batteries, you can take your light bulbs. Batteries Plus is one. Home Depot has little bins inside that they'll do. I believe it's light bulbs, batteries, bags. You know, they have a nice setup. So please, you know, do use the people that are participating and being partners in, you know, achieving some recycling goals there. So definitely, like, if you know somewhere to go, you can share it with others.
so getting back to that question about recycling in an apartment, what are the barriers to having that actually go through it? You talked to about getting that blanket policy throughout the city, because that's a huge, impactful lacking of recycling.
It is, that has to be passed as a city ordinance. So you have to get that to go.
I mean, I think it's worth starting the conversation.
Yep. I mean, I'm curious why they're exempt anyway. You know, such a huge program in the city.
One contamination is not good sense.
The apartment buildings would be responsible for their bins, which means they're responsible for tenant and what they're doing with that bin. And I don't know that too many apartment buildings take on that kind of liability where they want to actually.
How about the organic stuff, like tomatoes, potatoes, can we put in the backyard or don't look from the trash can, does it help you?
If you want to compost, feel free, make sure, you know, lawn great, that is all on you. If you have a home compost system, do be aware that if you're doing food waste type things, and it's near your home, you may get insects.
You can put your shredded paper in your compost.
You can, and you can build a bin, and I mean, lots of people, I love the idea of compost. I love the organisms, I love how it all works, but yeah, you just have to make sure that you're gonna do it, because you also have neighbors who, you know, probably would not love just a tile format on that. They'd probably like you to make sure you're doing it right and really keeping the insect activity down. But yeah, please compost if you can. If that's not something you're capable of doing or just not really interested, because it does take a little bit of effort, yeah, the trash is fine for it.
So over that last 5 years, considering the contamination and everything, has the city made or lost money on recycling?
Well, it's cost the city. The city has not made money. We get a paycheck. We do get a pretty hefty paycheck. Yes, it's just not covering all of the costs. Not 100%, but it is. We are making money. And as the contamination reduces, and as the quality goes up, those funds will also increase.
And then what about education in middle school and high school? How's that going? Are y'all doing that?
We are, yes. We are heading out. There's also communities and schools that support us, and they have an education program. And then we hit public forums and we table at events, and we try our best to get out there.
HOA.
I love HOAs. In fact, I have a whole list of HOAs. I have a couple of them that haven't responded. You can help me? That would be awesome.
Yes, that'd be good. This is a small group from all different areas, and I think if you target the HOAs, you get more of that community effort, and everyone's kind of like, hey, just put that in there. I saw you need it.
Yeah.
Maybe lunch.
We love them to volunteer and allow us to do some education and give them some information, and that'd be great. So what I do want to leave you with is the cctexas.com/how-to-recycle all together. There's actually a link on there that you can request a presentation. We are pretty much booked up through the month of September, and we're starting to fill up October and November and December. But we welcome it because there's two of us, we can split out. This is one of the first times we've actually put us together. So, yeah. You need a YouTube channel. Watch on the end. Well, we'll see about that.
Well,
Thank you
just how to
everyone
recycle.
for the great questions. Those were really, really good questions, and we are going to be taking this information back to the people we report to. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you for coming. And I did have a kind of a question, kind of a follow-up, because I know when we first started the recycling, one of the things was that the market for the recycled products had stopped, and that people who were recycling couldn't send it because a lot of it went to China, and they really didn't send them too much contaminated, and so it just shut down. Is that open again, or do we have a?
China has not opened again.
So-
Most countries actually are slowly shutting to us, Canada, UK, who loves to send them trash. And you can't blame them. You don't, we're not
you can't do anything
sending
with it, yeah.
what we promised to send. But no, we now have US markets
Oh.
that are capable.
Great. Well, give him a hand again. I'm so delighted with all the questions that you guys asked. So maybe we need to do a second run of this, whenever you back in the spring, and you all tell your friends how interesting it was and all the answers that you got. We're grateful that you told us places where we can go and recycle with Office Max and Home Depot. So I hope you guys will take notes on that. Again, thank you so much for coming. Thank you to the City of Corpus Christi, Solid Waste Services, and all of our sponsors today. Our next SIP will be on October 10th. In this same room at the same time. It will be Scott Harris with Lockhart, Anderson, and Newman to present about research and recommendations of grief tracking products to improve stormwater quality. That's amazing. That is going to be really, really good. Okay, so make sure that you tell your friends and that you make sure you come as well. Again, I want to remind you of some upcoming events. This Saturday is about the Big Jet Factory Challenge. How many of you have already signed up for that? You can go on the Coastal Bend Basin Estuary website if you want to participate in that. November 3rd is our Environmental Awards Banquet. Are you looking forward to that? Yay! It's going to be from 5:30 to 9 p.m. It's our 20th annual, and we'll be at the Ortiz Center again. We do still have sponsorship levels available. We need award nominees. So those people, the businesses, the industries that you know that are good environmental stewards, please nominate them. The nominations are due by October 3rd. That's the deadline. The application is on the basefoundation.org website. We have 8 categories recognizing coastal Bend environmental heroes, citizens, educators, businesses, governing bodies, nonprofits, and other entities. We also have raffle tickets that are available right now. We did good things away at our environmental awards banquet. Malachi Hunt, we always have it every single year. Huge Yeti ice chest. We've got some really good sponsors, really good gifts, not gifts, but raffle items. And so please, what did you say?
We're gonna have a big silent auction.
Yes, and a silent auction. So please, if you want to buy a raffle ticket, you can pick up a raffle ticket today. You can also purchase raffle tickets online. Again, the prices are the Nowry Hunt on King Ranch worth $2,600. Did your wife win that one time? She won something.
She won the cooler.
Yeah. She won the cooler. She won the Yeti cooler. You can't get it. Texas State Aquarium exclusive behind the scenes, feed the fish experience and admission for up to 6 people were $539, and then the Yeti 165 part cooler were $375. If you buy a raffle ticket for $10, get one of these. Oh my God, talk about return on investment. Again, if you have not signed up your membership or did your membership, please do that. We want all of you to be a member and help support some of the things that we do around our environment. So I again appreciate you all coming. Thank you and have a safe ride.
Sure. Can I make a quick announcement? So I just got this flyer in the mail today. Here in this parking lot on October the 2nd, from 1 to 3 p.m. is the National Drive Electric event. And there'll be lots of electric cars you guys can check out, including mine, which is a 7-volt. But it's really cool. If you're interested in electric cars, there'll be all different kinds. So 1 to 3 on Sunday, October the 2nd, right out front. It's sponsored by Delmont.
Thank you. The stores are awesome. We just hope that they're really nice. So thank you again for coming. Be safe. We will see you Saturday at Patrick Channel at the electric vehicle, and then next October at our fair. Thank you.
I know, I'm sorry. No. I need to, I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna use it. I'm sorry. You're coming?
For Earthly Day or
Yeah, any of these.
Oh, no. What's going on? I'm sorry.